The cherry blossom dream. Shirley had always been captivated by cherries. The deep red fruits, glossy and sweet, were her favorite treat. She would sneak them into her room after school, savoring each bite like it was a moment of pure joy. She even had a small cherry tree in her backyard, where she would sit for hours, reading a book or daydreaming as the branches swayed in the breeze. But despite her love for cherries, there was one thing Shirley longed to experience more than anything else: cherry blossoms. At 18, Shirley was already a dreamer, always seeking beauty in the world around her. The sight of cherry blossoms, delicate and fleeting, seemed like the perfect symbol of the world she imagined for herself, a place where everything was both fragile and breathtaking. Every year, she would watch videos and look at photos of sakura trees in full bloom, imagining herself standing under their pink and white canopies. One day, as Shirley scrolled through her phone, an idea bloomed in her mind. She leaned over to her older sister, Grace, who was 24 and usually the more practical one. "Grace," Shirley began, excitement sparkling in her eyes, "I've been thinking. I really want to see cherry blossoms in real life. Not just on my phone or in a book. I want to stand under those trees and feel the petals fall around me." Grace, who had always supported Shirley's dreams, looked up from her work with a smile. "You've been talking about cherry blossoms for years now, Shirley. Maybe it's time we make that dream come true." The idea of traveling to Japan, the land of cherry blossoms, thrilled Shirley beyond measure. The thought of being surrounded by rows and rows of pink and white petals, the fragrance in the air, the beauty of it all, it was almost too much to comprehend. After some planning and saving, the two sisters found themselves on a plane, heading to Japan for a vacation that promised to be as unforgettable as it was exciting. The moment they stepped off the plane, Shirley felt a wave of exhilaration. The air was fresh and crisp, and the city of Tokyo stretched out before them, a mix of modern buildings and traditional temples. But it wasn't the city they had come for. It was the cherry blossoms. Grace took Shirley's hand as they made their way to the hotel. "I know you're excited, but let's get some rest first. Tomorrow is going to be all about the sakura trees." Shirley couldn't contain herself. She had read all about Japan's cherry blossom season, or hanami, when people from all over the world gathered to celebrate the fleeting beauty of the cherry blossoms. It was the perfect time to visit, and she could barely sleep that night, her mind racing with thoughts of what the next day would bring. The next morning, the sisters took a train to one of Japan's most famous parks, Ueno Park, known for its stunning cherry blossoms. As the train rolled to a stop, Shirley's heart pounded in her chest. She could already see the trees in the distance, their branches heavy with blossoms, creating a soft pink mist in the air. "Oh my gosh, Grace, look," Shirley whispered, her voice shaking with excitement. Grace laughed, clearly amused by her sister's enthusiasm. "I told you, it's even more beautiful than the photos, isn't it?" Shirley nodded, unable to find words. She was surrounded by beauty on all sides. The petals of the cherry blossoms fluttered in the wind, drifting like confetti onto the ground. The air was filled with the sweet, almost intoxicating fragrance of the flowers. They wandered through the park, taking in the vibrant scene around them. Families were picnicking under the trees, their laughter filling the air. Couples strolled hand in hand, and photographers snapped pictures of the breathtaking scene. "I've read about this, Grace," Shirley said softly. "How the cherry blossoms only bloom for a short time. It makes them even more precious." Grace smiled. "That's the beauty of it. It's like life, short and sweet, but it leaves an impression." The sisters spent hours walking through the park, admiring the cherry blossoms and snapping photos to capture the moment. But as the day wore on, Shirley's thoughts shifted. As much as she adored the blossoms, there was something else on her mind. "Grace, I know we're here for the blossoms, but I've always wondered about cherries too. I've heard Japan has so many different types of cherries. Do you think we could find some?" Grace raised an eyebrow. "You want to go cherry hunting on our cherry blossom trip?" Shirley grinned. "I'm serious. I've been reading about all the different kinds of cherries, sweet, sour, big, small. I'd love to taste them. It's the perfect combination, right?" Grace laughed and nodded. All right. We'll make it a cherry adventure." The next morning, the sisters set off to explore Japan's cherry orchards and markets. Their first stop was a small town outside Tokyo, where cherry trees grew in abundance. Shirley was in heaven, walking through the orchards, tasting cherries fresh off the trees. These are Benishigure cherries, the farmer explained, handing Shirley a handful of small, bright red cherries. Sweet and tart, just like you like. Shirley eagerly popped one into her mouth, savoring the burst of flavor. Wow, these are amazing. I've never tasted anything like them before. Grace smiled, watching her sister's joy. See? It's like a cherry wonderland. They moved from one orchard to another, sampling Sato Nishiki, a type of cherry known for its sweetness, and Koyo, a rare variety with a slightly tangy flavor. Shirley was fascinated by the diversity of cherries, each with its unique taste, texture, and color. The different types of cherries were like the blossoms they had seen the day before, each one a unique and beautiful expression of nature. The sisters also visited local markets, where cherries were sold in elegant wooden boxes, the fruits carefully arranged like precious jewels. Shirley couldn't resist buying a box of the premium cherries to take home. I can't believe how many types there are, Shirley said, still savoring the last bite of a particularly sweet variety. I think I found my new favorite. Grace laughed, her arms full of cherry-themed souvenirs. I think you found a whole new world of cherries. On the final day of their vacation, the sisters returned to the park for one last walk under the cherry blossoms. The trees were still in bloom, their petals fluttering gently to the ground. Shirley felt a sense of peace settle over her as she stood beneath a massive sakura tree, its branches heavy with blossoms. This was everything I imagined and more, Shirley said quietly, looking up at the delicate petals above her. The blossoms, the cherries, it's been a dream come true. Grace smiled, her eyes warm with affection. I'm glad we could make it happen, Shirley. Sometimes, the best moments in life are the ones we never expect. As the sun began to set, the sisters sat down on a bench, surrounded by cherry blossoms. The pink petals glowed in the fading light, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. Shirley smiled, feeling truly content for the first time in a long while. Thanks, Grace, for everything. Grace hugged her sister tightly. Anytime, Shirley. Anytime. And with that, they sat together, watching the cherry blossoms dance in the breeze, knowing that this trip would be a memory they'd cherish forever.